All right. Well, thank you for having me. Really grateful for this opportunity. I have been an avid Webflow user for many years now. And along the way, I've learned some stuff. And also in my role as CMO at Proof, we are always running A/B tests and interesting marketing campaigns. So that kind of gave birth to this speech, which is the 7 proven ways to skyrocket conversions on your Webflow site. Um, yes, we're going to talk about these 7 tactics, and I will provide a whole lot of uh, examples. There's like 30 or 40 examples here across all these industries. So whether you're building your e-commerce store on Webflow, or you have a CMS, or you're a SaaS company like Proof, then you will get value out of this presentation. But ultimately, aside from the tactics and these strategies, I hope that you walk away with a new profound philosophy of how you do marketing and your relationship with your customer. And who I think does this really well and want to start off with is Nike. Nike is one of the top brands in the world, and it stems from their ability to do amazing advertising. And this is one of their ad campaigns. Most aces, most games, longest match, all held by the same amazing champion tennis player. And so when we think of it and look at this advertising, what do they sell? Do they sell shoes? No, that's what you can buy on their website, but that's not what they're selling here. And are they selling equipment? No, they're not selling equipment. That's again what you might find in their stores. But if we look at the advertisement, what they're selling is the dream to win. It's this identity that you can become a champion with Nike's shoes and equipment and all the other amazing products that they have. But that's not what they're selling. That's what people are buying. What they're selling is an identity, and it's a superhero version of themselves. And you buy these shoes and equipment to hopefully become and evolve into this ideal persona. And so that's ultimately what you want to be selling. So my question for you is, what do you sell? And if your thought went right back to the software or e-commerce products or services that you sell, I think you totally missed the last slides. Ultimately, what you're selling is your customer's superhero. And it's not you, it is your customer in the future. And there's a transformation that happens when they put on your products and services. They become that superhero. And so when you build your next marketing campaign and you say, I'm going to go back to the whiteboard, I encourage you to instead go back to the customer. They're going to tell you how to sell them, because all you have to do is ask them the questions. Who's your superhero? At the end of, before being a Webflow user and after being a Webflow user, you have evolved. You've developed these superpowers that you're now able to create websites that were unthinkable or only imaginable in our dreams. And now with the no code movement and the amazing product that Webflow has created, you have become the superhero designer, superhero marketer that you've always wanted to be. And that's the power of a good product. So here, when we think about our customer journey and your website being a very important part of that, how do you transform your customer from who they are today to the superhero that they always wanted to be? I didn't realize this when I first started marketing. I was a wannabe freelance digital marketer in this photo when probably 20 years old, 21 years old, uh, really just selling features all the time for my clients. I would build these wicked cool websites, and it was always just based on the fancy products and services, but it really never harnessed the customer's story. And I think that's why they were beautiful and very functional, but they didn't make a ton of sales. And that's why I say I was a very newbie freelance digital marketer who, I had this idea that I could be a great designer, but for some reason, the sales weren't coming through. And it wasn't until I teamed up with my mentor, who I moved from Atlanta to Maryland and moved in. And here we are in the basement with Dave Rogenmoser, building a community of marketers and mostly marketing agencies on how do we build the best, most transparent, most effective marketing that we can. And I believe that when we do things together, we all rise. And so when we teamed up, it was all about how do we build this community of marketers and ultimately pull out great software products to solve their problems. Well, over the course of about a year doing this, what we came to find is the number one problem marketers face is converting their clicks into customers. And this is interesting because, in our community, we had a lot of content creators, SEO experts, Facebook advertisers, people who were able to optimize their AdWords. So they figured out pay per click and SEO and social media. But what they were really frustrated with is all of the traffic that they were sending to their websites, their funnels, were just not converting. And so we thought that this was a pretty interesting challenge and maybe we could figure it out with software. But we didn't know what that product was going to be. So we followed the money and we started trying to figure out how are the biggest advertisers on the internet spending all of this money profitably? How does Expedia and Verizon and Amazon, how do they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a day on digital ads? Well, it's because on the next page, their landing pages convert really high. And so they're able to afford the placement of good advertising. And this is something that I found really interesting is a theme, a through line across all of these different landing pages. There's one thing that was consistent, and that was they use a lot of social proof. Now, before I get into all the tactics of this, let's define it. Social proof is this psychological phenomenon where people assume the actions of others in an attempt to reflect their correct behavior. I think this is more layman's terms put by Robert Cialdini. He's a New York Times bestselling author of the book Influence. It's a great marketing book. And he says, we view the behavior as more correct in a given situation to the degree that we see others are performing it. In essence, we're very influenced by the people around us and the people that we see to do the right action. So when we apply this to our marketing, though, it has a profound impact. If we think about how do we apply social proof to this problem specifically, well, that came up with the social proof marketing campaign. And that's what I'm here to share with you. If you do this social proof marketing campaign, your website will convert up to 300% higher, allowing you to hit your sales goals, profitably scale your advertising, and become a market leader. And so that's the 7 proven ways you're going to skyrocket your skyrocket your conversions on your Webflow site. And to hit the punchline, it's harnessing the social proof marketing campaign. So let's get into these 7 social proof marketing tactics that you can easily implement. The first one is customer logo section below the fold. So you might see pretty consistently in design, here's our website. There is this section right below the fold where you show your customers' logos. And what I like about Webflow is they have the ability to create a symbol, which you can use across all of your pages. And you just make it mobile friendly and all of this, and then you can copy and paste it. We found that on average, just adding that social proof bar increases conversions on about 8%. So I would recommend just creating it once and then adding it to all your landing pages. We recently ran a case study as well with this company called AppQues, amazing software. And what we did is personalize the social proof logos based on industry. This is an interesting experiment to see how influenced are we, not just by the logos, but by how relevant the logos are to our business. And so we did this for MarTech and education and health. And what we came to find is that this is incredibly effective. In fact, when we did this across 7 different industries, you see that each set was unique. We increased conversions on AppQ's site by 42%. And that was pretty crazy. So 42% more trials from visitors that saw personalized logos to their industry. And this shows you that those logos actually matter, and we look at them and we're influenced by them. So strategy number 1 is to Put 4 to 7 customer logos below the fold on your website. I recommend using a Webflow symbol. That makes it really easy to just duplicate across pages. And then if you serve industries, multiple industries or verticals, then you can personalize it for each logo. And there's plenty of personalization softwares. Proof is one of them. And of course, in the no code era. All right, number 2, use your customer's voice in your copy. And you can do this by highlighting the crowd. So Intercom does this really well. They give a very large section to their testimonials. You can see here, but what I like, this is their homepage. And it's the director of sales and success. Notice though, if you travel across to other pages on their site, such as go down to Intercom, capabilities, and then you go to the marketing page. This is often where the head of marketing or marketing manager would go to learn about how Intercom can be used for them. They don't just show any testimonials, they show testimonials from other marketers. So really think about how can you show the most effective testimonial at the right time, really understanding the context of where the customer is in their buying journey. I think Stu McLaren does this really well for his membership site, where he teaches you how to create a subscription business. And he just does this really plain out simply, is screenshotting different testimonials and people from this Facebook group, posting on his ads, in his on his Facebook page, and he just shares that in a giant landing page. How simple of a landing page, but literally this is so effective, and it's consistent across his entire marketing, and they do really well. So it doesn't have to be fancy smancy. It can be just screenshots, and I actually find that that's a lot more transparent too, because we know for a fact this person posted this online on their own Facebook even. And then I also like how Hunt a Killer does this. They are always showcasing their customer stories. So real Instagram photos. I love how they like showcase the crowd. Here it says Hunt a Killer scores 9 out of 10 on Trustpilot with 2,600 reviews, and all these testimonials as well. Just an abundant amount of social proof. So strategy number 2 is use your customer's voice in your copy. It's so effective and honestly so easy to do. Anybody can do this. And what makes this wild is if you do this, you don't have to be a great marketer to increase your conversions. I hope that we're only on number 2 out of 7 right now. But if you're thinking to yourself, I'm no expert marketer, I'm just here to figure out a great website design. Maybe you're shopping, maybe you're an agency. Well, guess what? Your intern could do this. Anybody could do this. All you have to do is, have your Facebook page, screenshot that, add it to your Webflow site, and now it's going to increase your conversions. I highly recommend that you try this. Number 3, feature famous customers and referral partners. I subscribe to a company called Athletic Greens, and I found out about them from the Joe Rogan podcast. He actually has his whole own landing page, and they showcase him along with those logos and a bunch of other famous people that use Athletic Greens. And so this just shows you how influenced that we are by famous people that use our product. I also like referral partners that we recognize. So I was on Stripe.com, their payment processor that you probably know, and they were using a live chat function. When I clicked on that, it said, supported by live chat or powered by live chat, something like that. So when I clicked on that, it took me to this landing page, and it said, start using the same live chat solution as Stripe.com. I thought that's really cool because I trust Stripe. And so I'm now more influenced and paying more attention to this landing page because it's recommended basically by Stripe because obviously they're a customer that uses it. So let's say that you have a product that's viral in its own capacity. You can create a landing page that does this. In fact, we did this 2 years ago. Our product Proof, we have a little notification. And so on a conference page like this, they click on the notification in the corner, and it goes, thisjustworks.co is verified by Proof. We pull in their customer logo, and they can get started with Proof right there. So we found already that this has increased trials by 25% just by adding the personalization of the last visited site and pulling in their logo. So you can do this too just by creating a landing page for your referred customers. So the point of strategy number 3 is if your prospects admire your customers, they're more likely to buy from them. And if your prospects are familiar with them, just as your friends are familiar with you, and you say, hey, this is the best skincare solution, or you love this new protein powder, they're so much more likely to buy that product or service. Incredibly high rapport increases conversions. Strategy number 4, create a customer wall of love. I love how Buffer does this. Amazing company that always is showcasing their customers. And they created this whole landing page just streaming in their tweets and testimonials. And I also love that right here at the very end, it says 75,000 brands and businesses use Buffer. And so that's the kind of copywriting that you should be thinking. How do you add testimonials? How do you have 75,000 brands trust are built on Buffer? This is the kind of stuff that works, and it's consistent, and it works across any industry, whether you're SaaS, e-commerce, coaching, agencies, across the board. This stuff works. Be customer obsessed, y'all. This is the way to win. Marie Forleo, one of the most profound personal development speakers, and specifically women's education, is amazing. She has a whole wall dedicated to testimonials. And I want you to imagine a Webflow grid that you could do this with. Pull in a CMS. These are all just customer photos and a quote, and it automatically compiles an amazing page like this. This is very effective, builds so much rapport and trust. And it's like, if it works for this many people, it's got to work for me. Very easy to do. All you have to do is ask and survey your customers to submit you their photo and testimonial, and bam, you're off to the races. You can create a board like this in no time. Scotch Cheap Flights, an Austin-based company, it has a member stories board. And so if you go to their member stories, that's in their navigation, which I highly recommend you put your customers or member stories in your navigation. It's just a very long page of stories here. This builds up so much belief that it works for this membership site, a subscription to Cheap Flights. So cool and really easy to do. Again, this doesn't take much time, but it freaking works. So strategy number 4, use social proof by creating a customer wall of love. Dedicate a whole page to your customers, and the longer the better. If they're on mobile, you want their thumb to get tired of scrolling from all of those testimonials. Curate quotes, social media posts, reviews, stories, and of course, don't forget to add a lot of call to actions. That's how they take action. And number 5, add certifications, trust badges, awards, and featured publications. So I really like how Hootsuite does this. They have a whole section dedicated to awards, such as the Forrester Wave, G2 Crowd, Gartner, and Adweek. It's admirable, and you're like, okay, Hootsuite, you're legit. I get it. You also see that MemberStack, an add-on to Webflow that turns any Webflow site into a membership site. I love this. I'm personally a user, and they were Product Hunt #1 product of the day on Product Hunt. So adding a badge like this gives a lot of validation and social proof. And then you obviously have a whole bunch of testimonials here and other forms of social proof. This stuff is incredibly effective. I also really like Facebook for Developers has this really easy embed. I like to add this below the call to action on my landing pages. So easy as this. What this does, it's going to pull in the number of people that like your page. And all you have to do is paste this one line of code. So easy. And then you put a little embed right beneath the call to action. Facebook gives you that second line of code. Bam, paste it, save. I'm gonna drag it right below. That's where it's most effective. And then I'm gonna add a class that adds 32 pixels of margin, just so it gives it a little bit of breathing room, right? We don't want it too close in shoulders. Publish, and you'll see how effective this is. It looks amazing too. All right, so scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there it is. It says recommended by Michael and 5.6 thousand other people recommend this. And that's cool because it brings in your friend's name. And if you have multiple friends that like your page, they'll recognize these people and they're much more likely to enter their email address in that. So you saw how fast I added that to my page, and bam, increased conversions immediately. Squatty Potty does a really good job at adding social proof for third-party validation. So they are the #1 selling product on Shark Tank. And of course, they would add that to their site, along with being featured on Dr. Oz and Time Magazine. So if you have these kind of accreditations, highly recommend that you create a section just like Squatty Potty has in the middle of your landing page. It's a great place to put publications. So number 5 social proof strategy is add certifications, trust badges, awards, and featured publications to your site. This is stuff like TripAdvisor certified, secured by McAfee, #1 on Product Hunt, or featured on Forbes. Number 6, guys, we're getting there. 6 out of 7. Let's get into it. Embed reviews or case studies that visitors can filter based on relevant tags. So I love that Shopify's product #1 of the year, Best Self Co. They use a lot of social proof on their site. And you can see here that they have an embedded review section. And you can do something like this with partners of Webflow, and you can embed a review site. You could also do this like Trustpilot or Yotpo or G2 Crowd as well. And they all have embeddable widgets. Very effective, especially in the e-commerce niche. Now, I'm not in an e-commerce niche. We have a SaaS company. So if I'm like you, I have my reviews across a whole lot of different places. So for example, Facebook, we have like 104 reviews there. We have some on G2 Crowd, a lot on Capterra. And so to aggregate all of these, all we did is have someone from our team go out and save the testimonials and logos and person's name, upload that, or just put it into an Excel spreadsheet, upload that to Webflow, and I'll show you how. It just created this section, and now I design it once, and it creates it for all of them. That's some of the power here of Webflow. It just allows me to quickly build something once, and then it scales really quickly. And I love this. Watch that. All I did is create a CMS, and whenever I create a new customer, I have 87 quotes here. All I have to do is create a new customer in the top, type in their name and all of this stuff, their photo, their logo, how many reviews they gave it, and then it just adds it right there on all my landing pages that utilize this social proof widget. And this is so effective and scales, and you can control the design. I don't know about you, but you know, not every one of these has the most consistent or greatest design. And so now you can make your reviews designed to meet your branding guidelines with the help of Webflow. And with the CMS, it's scalable. One of the best marketing of all time for 50 plus years now is Airstream. And Airstream is brilliant. They have created 2 categories of their audience. They have the streamers, who are the people that ride around the world in their Airstreams. And then they have the dreamers. And the dreamers are the people that are hopeful for one day they'll take their family on a nationwide national park tour or a Webflow tour. And they will go city by city with their family. And the streamers, the people actually living their life, always are selling the dreamers, those that are reading the blog post. And so here's what happened. they created this whole CMS, which is basically a blog, and dedicated to sharing the stories of their customers, of the streamers, so that it inspires the dreamers to take action. So it's an amazing way to use a Webflow CMS. Number six, embed reviews or case studies directly on your page. And even better if you can filter with relevant tags. Embed widgets like Trustpilot, Yotpo, G2 Crowd, Capterra. You can create CMSs for reviews or case studies. And last but not least, add real-time a real-time feed of engagement activity. So on Beamer.com, I like how they have a lot of social proof, but this one particular is very interesting. 1,032 companies started a trial in the last month, right there beneath the call to action. Here's a little close up on that, what it looks like. And this number flickers up whenever you enter your email and actually start your trial. So I think it's really cool how real-time feed that is. You also notice this on if you check out at delta.com to go and fly somewhere, or United, American Airlines, right before you check out, you have this trip protection. Now, not everybody will need trip protection, but a lot of people take this. And you want to know why? Right here. It says 70,954 customers protected their trip in the last 7 days. They have even more social proof here by showing a third-party accreditation, but this is so powerful to have this real time. This many people did it. So a little bit of fear missing out, like, oh my gosh, I might need this, a little bit of fear, but also urgency, like I should do this now too. I was on another conference last week called Tribe Live, and I like here right below the fold, right before you log in, it says 1,669 people are online now. This is a form of real-time social proof. But then they also had our product on here too, which is another form of real-time social proof. And it's whenever somebody checked in, this pop-up came up. Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi also use this on their webinar landing page. And whenever somebody opts in for content of theirs, it'll say something like 2,104 leaders downloaded the guide. Oprah Winfrey and Deepak Chopra are also a customer. And it shows 79,000 people are meditating with them in the last 30 days. You can also use this for e-commerce sites. And it's whenever somebody opts in for your book. It says 324 entrepreneurs downloaded the book. And so y'all, this is incredibly effective. Every single time you add real-time social proof, it increases conversions by 10 to 15%. So incredibly effective. I recommend it all the way. When you add up all of these, you're going to end up increasing your conversions by up to 300%. Next time you think about your marketing, you don't need to go back to the whiteboard. You need to go back to the customer. Thank you so much for giving me your attention. And this is the 7 proven ways to skyrocket conversions on your Webflow site, harnessing the power of social proof. I hope that this gave you a profound new way of thinking about your customers and your approach to marketing. And the fact that you don't have to be a fancy copywriter. You can actually just use the voice of your customer, and it's actually more effective most of the time. So with that, go back to the customer, talk with them, showcase them, love them, and serve them. Thank you all so much. My name is Austin Distel. I'll be receiving questions on Twitter, and you can also meet me for the Q&A at 4:15.